This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
Is it top 5 at 5 time?
It is 5.
I apologize. I'm just responding to some fan mail, but go right ahead. I mean, I'm actually kind of intrigued by what we have coming up. I mean, we actually talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
But do we have, how many players did we lose during today's Lester Steckel-like practice of brutality?
Well, lose or not have it all.
Oh, no. What?
There's a couple of those. Let me read Seifert first.
Okay.
Next year, and I'll write this down so I remember, we need a training camp tweet sounder. We might even have one because I feel like we do this every training camp when we're not out there. We just read the collection of tweets from the reporters.
Yeah, we have done that for sure.
Because I do like the variance we get from like the grizzled veteran Kevin Seifert, the very excitable Alec Lewis, young Alec as PA calls him, and then Goessling's usually right in the middle of those two in terms of energy and enthusiasm.
Yes.
So Seifert tells us 4 hours ago that the Vikings will have a scrimmage-like practice today with lots of reps for the starters. That was per offensive coordinator Wes Phillips. The starters are not expected to play Friday at Tennessee. No shock there.
No.
2 hours later, this turned out to be a pretty physical practice. Wide receivers Jordan Addison and Ty Felton left with what looked like hand/arm injuries. They remained on the sidelines but didn't resume practicing. Cornerback Jeff Okudah went inside mid-practice with his right shoe off. Here's what Alec writes. Ty Felton looked like he dinged his arm, didn't return but stood on the sidelines. Jordan Addison jammed something, finished practice on the sidelines. Okudah walked in after trainers were looking at right foot, and then he added, didn't see Harrison Phillips. So I don't know if he's dealing with something. Maybe it was just a planned day off. Maybe it was something personal. I don't know. But
the hell?
Defensive lineman Harrison Phillips was not there today. So that's the update from Egan, TCO, as the Vikings leave tomorrow for Nashville for preseason game number 3.
How about Golick and the Pup? Doesn't have the same alliteration as PA and the Pup, but
we could have figured something out.
Yeah, for sure.
We definitely could have figured something out.
Well, I hope this doesn't, turn into a bigger issue. I mean, we're already dealing with rumors that the Vikings are exploring a trade for a veteran wide receiver. One would assume that isn't going to cost much.
Right.
Because you're just looking for a little insurance while Addison is on the sideline suspended. Then again, maybe it's a belief that, we don't really
have a third guy.
We just don't have a third guy, let alone a guy who might help us be the second guy when Addison's out.
And that rumor, the speculation, the reporting from our friend .com Tom Pelissero, who basically woke up this morning and tweeted this out. With Jordan Addison suspended and multiple injuries, the Vikings are seriously exploring veteran receivers in the trade market per sources. He added, no trade is imminent, but Minnesota is actively looking with 6 days to cut down. Have we thought about Adam Thielen coming home?
Hasn't come up.
I haven't looked at the text this week.
That's astute of you.
Yeah.
No one has mentioned Thielen's name.
He's from here.
Is that true?
He's got 1 year left on his deal.
Was he born here or did he just grow up here?
I think he was born here.
Okay.
I mean, he went as Halloween like all of us did as Randy Moss. So
who didn't?
Yeah, we all did. Or Chris Carter.
Yeah.
It was one of the two. So that's the name that obviously everybody is throwing out there, and only time will tell Davey. Last night in New York, you heard it right here on the Fan. Minnesota Lynx fall to the New York Liberty. Did not play very well. I watched most of it. Cheryl Reeves saying our starters basically didn't show up. Did not play very well. That's surprising because you knew New York after basically being humiliated by the Lynx the first 3 games.
Yeah, they were going to do something, right?
They were going to do something.
Yeah.
And they did.
As it was a close game. And I don't agree with Lavelle. He thinks we got jobbed by the officials. Come on, man. You're not going to win every game. And secondly, the three-pointer that was Was it Ionescu? How do you say the name? Ionescu?
Ionescu,
however you say it. I thought it was a legitimate call. It's the old you have to give some place to
land,
and at worst it's a borderline call.
Yeah.
It's not the worst call in it. And I mean, we're not going to go undefeated the rest of the season. My God, now it's not bad enough that Lavelle is a Twins apologist. Now he's a Lynx apologist too. It's bizarre.
I will say, having watched most of the Liberty and Lynx games this year, this is going to bother you. We're probably going to get in a fight.
Oh no! Are you going to make an Oklahoma City what's his name shot?
Her name, and I tweeted this out in Target Center, should be SG Ionescu. That's what her name should be. Right. She's as bad as him with the flopping and the extra stuff. She's as bad. I don't think she gets as many calls. There was one last night where she tried to do it. She falls down with 2 Lynx next to her. Yeah. Looks at the ref, and the ref just goes, "No, get up." I'm just telling.
Well, I don't have an opinion on that. I haven't watched enough. Either way,
I bring it up.
I just don't think that was. In a game, the 3-pointer put him up. Was it 5 or 7? What the game? Come on, people. Why do we do this? Where we're always the team that got job. No one else gets job like we do. And sometimes it's true, but it can't be true every time. Sorry.
The only reason I brought that up is to prepare you for if they play.
It's coming.
Series.
You're saying it's coming. You're going to be all over it. We're not going to play them. Well, they're not going to make it.
If they get Stewie back, your gal.
Well, yeah.
I'm just telling you, I'm not going to take it well if that stuff's going on again. My SGA trauma is going to resurface, and we're going to fight, so I just wanted to warn you about it. Lynx, by the way, do not return. They stay on the road to take on the Dream tomorrow night, and the news of the day, maybe the most important news, is that Nafisa Collier in the game status report has been upgraded from doubtful. Let me get the right thing. Was it questionable or probable? Hang on. I made a big production.
It's a big difference.
I know. I made a big production, and then I second-guessed myself here. So I saw this earlier. Now I got to find it. Questionable. Yes, she's been upgraded to questionable from doubtful. So,
I don't think, who's the Liberty player out? I don't think she's ever going to play again. I mean, it's got to be the worst knee bruise in the history of football or basketball. That's what it is, right? Are they calling it a deep knee bruise?
She needs to play soon because she's running out of sunglasses to wear inside.
Well, that's probably true.
Which I don't understand, but that's just me.
There are some people blaming Kay Adams for the injuries at practice today. It's her fault because this was the day she was at Winter Park. Well, not Winter Park, TCO Performance
TCO?
Center. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
How that makes it her fault, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think it's tongue-in-cheek a little bit.
I think we can leave Kay Adams out of it.
Just kidding. Just a 6-1-2, kind of trying to, have fun with the bit.
Lighten up a little bit, Francis. Twins lost last night to the A's, who, as you know, are very plucky.
Yes.
They're playing Sacramento.
It was Joe Ryan, wasn't it?
And he got rocked.
Yeah. Well, even he's not perfect.
No, I know.
Can't be perfect.
Well, and I guess he can't be pitching with a lot of enthusiasm at the moment either.
No, he could have been traded like he wanted to be, clearly, and now we know why he wanted to be traded.
So we're back at it tonight. Bailey Ober against JT Ginn. First pitch, 6:40. Good luck, everybody.
We'll come back with some texts, and we're wide open, right? We're guest-free the rest of the way.
Until the fair.
We've got several subjects to explore. We'll give you maybe a little more about our fair schedule as well. And now the entire T-shirt roster and hoodie roster is out. We'll give you details for the fair on that as well.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
JG, it was Paul Odland, 1987 state champion from Edina, who went to Notre Dame, played all the time, and ended up being captain of the tennis team. Did you name that person, or were you wondering?
That guy, that's true. That's not who I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
That's much before my time.
Oh, that's true. 87, yeah.
Yeah, I am aware.
Is it Odland or Odland?
I don't know that.
Odland.
But I do know that name. But that's not the guy I was talking about.
And he didn't try to recruit you as a Notre Dame alum by then?
No, he must have been bored with me. I don't think I've ever met him.
Wow. That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. 612 guy reminds us today is National Radio Day.
Yeah.
National Radio Day. To recognize and celebrate that day back in 1920, when people fired up their Westinghouse radios to hear the first historic commercial broadcast and the immortal words, "This is Pat Kessler. This is Pat Kessler.
This is Pat Kessler.
There it is. There it is. Remind me to bring up National Radio Day.
This is Pat Kessler.
Well, I mean, Kessler technically is more of a TV guy than a radio guy.
Yes.
So that's
but
what
he
we have to
started
remember.
at NPR.
Oh, that's right.
This was NPR.
That was NPR. That was, I mean, doesn't it make sense now? Stuffy, sort of.
Yes.
That
suit all the time.
That sort of elitist. I can't talk straight to you. I have to affect a voice. Doesn't it all come together?
Yes.
I don't think he had that same voice at Channel 4.
No, there's no riddle with Pat Kessler. It's all right there for you.
That's what I thought.
He'll join tomorrow, as you mentioned, in the 5 o'clock hour, I believe, at the State Fair.
One quick throwback to, we read a lot of nice tweets responding to our discussion with Alan Page. And by the way, speaking of Kessler, he's not on today, his usual day, because he's going to be on with us from the fair tomorrow, correct? As you said?
Mm-hmm.
He's one of three. John Bream tomorrow?
Yes, and two dogs.
That's right, two dogs, and then, is that the sequence? Then Bream, then Kessler?
You nailed it.
It's going to be a very eventful first show. So that's working out very well. And then day two, shortened program because of the Vikings preseason football final game. Pregame show will start at 5. And that's the Andrew Zimmern day, correct?
Yes, in the 4 o'clock hour, 4:30 for sure, hopefully
Yes.
4:15 to get a little bit more time, because I'm sure he's got a few tangents and rants after he was cut off last year by the power outage.
Correct.
If you'll recall, we had the power outage at the fair. After he spent like 5 minutes just ripping the fair, all of a sudden our power went out.
Correct.
Our speakers went out, and it was just you two talking in the booth.
It's interesting because, again, it's not difficult. How do I put this? The folks with political opinions who text, I don't think could be very good poker players, right? Because they pretty much, they don't disguise anywhere about where they're coming from, and where they're coming from has a lot to do with whatever their reaction is to a given statement or conversation or question. But there's a righty who was bitter that we asked Alan Page. Look, every time we've had Alan Page on, I've asked him political questions. Sometimes he answers them. Sometimes he skirts them. That's fine. He gets it. He's been around the block a time or two. By the way, he has political opinions. Trust me, you've heard eventually some of them. But my point is, the soundbite I was using, he made it sound like, well, there goes the lefty trying to just try to further advance the lefty cause. Lefties were getting ripped in the soundbite. That was the whole point. Lefties were being ripped for getting too obsessed with, in the case of Gavin Newsom, trying to one-up Trump rather than just to pay attention to issues that might give them a better chance to succeed them. So even then, you're not even in your indignation to identify me as DFL Dan. You didn't even bother to know, well, actually, that soundbite was an indictment of the Democrats or the Democratic governor. It wasn't praising the Democratic governor. But again, when you can't come at this conversation with anything like a poker face, then I guess we should not be particularly surprised. Let me give you a name, by the way. Let me give you a name, a dark horse name on the Democratic side, speaking of DFL Dan, to think about. I have no idea, for president I'm talking about, next time around, I have no idea whether given that he's not holding an office right now, he has any chance. But I think he should absolutely be in the mix and considered. Do you remember Rahm Emanuel?
Yes, of course.
He was right-hand man for Obama.
Yep.
He was the mayor of Chicago for, I think, 2 terms, if I'm not mistaken. Rahm Emanuel, I think speaking of what, who's MSNBC guy?
Joe Scarborough.
Joe Scarborough was ranting about. I think Rahm Emanuel is one of the Democrats who gets it, who gets that rant and understands it exactly. Rahm Emanuel has already made it clear he does not feel obligated to check every litmus test box of the progressive side of the Democratic Party. And the question is whether he's got a high enough profile, how he would do on a campaign trail, all that stuff. But his name is being circulated. He definitely has interest. And I think the Democrats would be smart. And I would know this. I'm DFL Dan. Would be smart to not dismiss him at all. I think he's more what I would classify as more of a liberal, classic liberal, than he is a progressive. He's not afraid to fire back at some of the progressive policies. He's got a bit more practicality to him, I think. So just keep an eye on that name. It's a name I may pass along to Kessler, if not this week, next week, or whenever we get back to not being at the fair. Because a lot of times at the fair, we keep it lighter, but whatever. The reason I am thinking about him is he just did a long interview with a bunch of Wall Street Journal guys.
Okay.
And I like a lot of his approach related to exactly it of what are we trying to do? Are we trying to get elected? And what's the best way to get elected? And part of that with him is we got to get, the idea is we got to just sell people on better policies. In fact, I think one of the subjects that comes up is one that's ongoing in California is how difficult it is to build. There are a lot of lefties who've talked about that and written about that as well. And that's where, as Denny Green would say, the proof is going to be in the pudding. Where was I? Hey, Dan, you wait until the fair to invoke summer hours this Friday? Said in jest. What fair foods do you get to fill the bonus time with? That's Alan in Afton. I don't know. I may try to boycott some of the regular foods I get most of the time.
Really? Going to change it up this year?
Not because I'm trying to make a statement, but I'm not even sure I love the foods as much as their habit.
Yeah, I understand that.
First example is mini donuts.
Yeah.
I like them, I get, but I don't know if I love them anymore. I'm just not sure. I'm not trying to just say I only want to get bean sprouts this year. I just mean, so maybe I'll be trying to be more selective. Some of it is I'm still bitter.
I know
that Centinela's isn't. Did it come back this year?
I don't think so. I think the
rice place,
the next generation just said enough, and that was devastating for both of us because you got me on that place, and it was easy. Such a great lunch spot. Yes, filling. Yes, comfort, and not all that unhealthy. No.
None of the, it was fried. I mean, it was like grilled chicken or whatever.
It was good. I know. It's a tough loss.
Yeah, I don't know. What was the place that I fell in love with last year where the line was through the roof? Andrew Zimmern brought it to our attention, and then
wasn't that the donut place?
It was a donut place, right? Yeah. Are they back? I assume they got to be back this year.
Yeah. Once you get in, you'd never want to leave.
Yeah, and I think it was just the donut. I think it was just like a basic glazed, wasn't it? I don't think it was anything too exotic because I don't tend to like exotic stuff. I haven't looked at the new list yet. Have you? I don't even know if I care about the new list.
Yeah, I looked at it. Nothing really jumped out. I don't really eat all that much while we're there, too. People, you've got to remember, we're there like 7 or 8 times. So, we're not going and really going around the rides and doing a bunch of stuff. There might be one day where my family comes out and we mill around, but I don't really get a ton of stuff there. I don't know. And I always try to eat before we go because otherwise then you're in trouble.
Well, Friday's the tricky day, right? Because Friday, we got to get there early to tape Enough Said.
Yeah, we'll have to eat there.
So we got to eat there. The good news is we will get in the parking lot, I think, because we'll all be coming earlier than usual.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, then we got a lot more time to kill, but that's a short show too, right? That's the show that ends at 5. And then you'll miss, the only show you'll miss will be the second
Thursday. Yeah. You've got Russo and Lavelle.
Allegedly Sauce, I mean, I'm going to text him He doesn't have to hang. That's sort of been his tradition, and it's great having him, obvious. But and then what days are the the main attraction out?
What do you
Power
mean?
Trip. Power Trip. What days are they out?
I actually don't even know.
You don't even know?
Yeah.
Because usually they're out. Is it one Saturday and then one weekday, or is it 2 weekdays? I don't remember.
They've kind of fluctuated. I think they're doing a Saturday show at some point this year.
Right.
I think. And I don't know the other days. I'll text Sauce and see what he's got. But we'll know. You'll know when you show up because of all the extra speakers that we bring in. We have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to make sure everybody there can hear.
Which could have gone to the awning fund.
Exactly. But it's got to go to the one day the Power Trip comes out there.
Got to have the extra woofers and tweeters.
Yeah, we can't get the shade because you got to make sure everybody can hear Tommy Olsen screaming it.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
Everybody.
Source close to the show. Here's my own Notre Dame story. My middle kid got into both Michigan and Notre Dame. Out of the woodwork, a bunch of Notre Dame parents tried to befriend my wife and I. When my kid chose Michigan over Notre Dame, it was as if we had never met. Well, that doesn't surprise me, but I don't think that's just a Notre Dame thing, do you? I think that could happen. That actually could happen with other blue blood schools.
Yeah.
If he'd done the opposite way, I'm guessing some Michigan parents would have done the same thing, don't you think?
Probably.
I mean, Notre Dame, there's a high obnoxiousness factor. I'm not going to lie to you. But I'm going to say again, it's going to sound like, I'm contradicting myself. I think there's something unusual about that place. I really do. So that breeds this feeling of we're special. I mean, I grew up traumatized by it. I'm not going to deny it. It was, Uncle Jack it was Notre Dame this, Notre Dame that constantly.
I believe it.
Indiana? That's a cute school, kid. I'm sure you'll do good there. Calm down.
Thanks, Uncle Jack.
Yeah. And Purdue was the same way, right? Because had one uncle who ended up at Purdue. But in any case, Bumper to Bumper is the name of the program. We are guest free the rest of the way. Austin in Apple Valley was listening to my suggestion that the Democrats should take a good, long, hard look at Rahm Emanuel, a man who's flirting with making a run for the presidency. He has the obvious disadvantage of not really having a job right now, I don't think, not an office, right? He was mayor of Chicago, chief of staff for Barack Obama. And Austin writes, I think I would thoroughly enjoy if CNN brought on Emanuel and Scott Jennings to have a conversation where they could go back and forth and have a real open and good discussion. Yeah, that would be, because he is, Emanuel he'll fight. He'll mix it up.
He's got some zip.
He's got some zip to him, but he also doesn't feel obligated to check every Democratic, if you're going to run, box. He's actually mixes that up very nicely, tries to separate himself from some of the other Democrats in that regard. Look, he's definitely left of center, there's no question, but he strikes me as a guy who is at least trying to present a notion of, I want to make deals. I want to get some stuff done, more than I want to flex about, you could say, hot button issues like transgender athletic, those who are transgender participating in women's athletics, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, I think on that, he's already gotten himself in trouble for some of the things he has said. It's actually a thing that a number of other Democrats have said too, but then they've pretty much gotten pounded for even opening that door at all. State Fair is right around the corner, writes Nick in St. Paul. That is now 100% accurate. By the way, opening time has changed, right? Isn't it an hour later this year?
7 now?
I think it's 7 instead of 6, somebody told me.
Let me check.
Among the changes that are taking place. Are you expecting Kessie to bring you gifts tomorrow? He tends to bring cucumbers.
Oh, yeah.
And male striptease calendars. That's a good, we got to be ready for that, right? Wonder what he'll have up his sleeve this week.
He's always got something weird. At 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Yep. You can buy tickets starting at 6 online in case you want to for that day. But 7 a.m. is when it opens. 7 to 9 is when they'll let you in. The fair closes at 11.
11. Is that an hour earlier than?
I don't know.
Can't remember. Seeing people waiting in a 2-hour line for a basic plain donut was bizarre. Yeah, yes and no. I mean, what happens at the fair is something gets in demand as the fashionable thing, and then you want to belong to the club, right? Now, I'll admit, I'm not going to wait. As good as the donut was, I'm not going to wait 2 hours for it.
Correct.
I might wait 20 minutes because I think I did. But I'm not going to probably wait 2 hours. But I'm not here to tell some people they can't because I think it's the old, part of my joy at the Great Minnesota Get-Together is the new fashionable thing. I want to try it. And I'm willing to wait because I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here.
Yes. And you've heard about it, especially if you're going mid-fair and you've heard about it all week.
Yes.
Or people come back to your neighborhood or you see them at something and you go, you got to try this. You got to try it because you got to go and report back and you want to be hip now with it and wow.
J-Max slinging the pigskin too hard? What's with all these wide receivers' hand and arm injuries? Is that it?
Maybe he needs to layer it.
Is he just throwing fastballs?
He needs to layer it better.
What happened to change of pace? Did you hear your guy on with PA today?
Brosmer? No. Rosen told me he was on. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, Max. I heard part of it. Good interview. He didn't. I mean, I wanted him to demand starting, first team reps.
Right.
But I'm not sure that was realistic from Brosmer at this point, if it's ever going to be.
He's pretty calculated.
Assuming than that.
Yes, he's pretty calculated. He's a good interview, though. He was always a good interview.
Yes. Austin and Apple Valley, I think that's a really good point. Emmanuel is coming back in the spotlight after I felt like he was in it as the mayor of Chicago. Compared to what Chicago has right now, he looks like a breath of fresh air. Well, someone else said, did he solve all Chicago's problems when he was there? No. I'm not sure anybody solves all of those problems. But yeah, compared to what's going on now, it feels very much more like a disaster now than it was then with him. What was the other? Oh, Marshall in Minnetonka. I agree. Emmanuel would be formidable if he got the nomination. He's smart, strategic, not as radical. That's not the direction the party is going. Look at NYC, Minneapolis, how popular Bernie still is, AOC, et cetera. Sadly, that's where the energy is on the left. Well, the question is whether that's where the energy is on the left at the presidential level. We're certainly seeing some signs of it in a couple cities that he mentioned, but there's already a couple of other cities that are actually trying to come back to the middle that had implemented, including San Francisco, some pretty far left policies. So I don't know. And then you're back to, well, how badly do you want to win? Agree on Rahm, lived in Lincoln Park when he was mayor. Your take is spot on. Mark Cuban is the Dems' best bet, in my opinion. Cuban? I don't think Cuban's going to run. I don't think Cuban would last more than about 2 weeks because I think he's got too red of an ass. I think he would just get too, hung up on people coming after him. I believe. I could be wrong. Maybe he's got another gear that he can go to, but I don't believe he's got any interest in that. Do you?
I doubt it. No.
Yeah. Somebody is saying it was already 7 o'clock last year. It was the year before we switched. That could be. I don't recall.
Okay.
But I thought I was told somebody at 9 had said we've moved it from 6 to 7 this year. But whatever. In any case,
7 o'clock tomorrow.
If you show up at 6, you'll be first in line. One would assume.
One of them, yeah.
Do a lot of people do that?
Oh, yeah.
Is it like their tradition?
Yes. And the morning shows will have their live shots outside, on Como and Snelling.
Hendo in Minneapolis, do you think the fair has sorted out the parking lot kerfuffle? Fair has been going on for 847 years. You'd think it'd be sorted by 2025. Does Hendo mean my parking lot issues, or is he talking more general parking
Probably just general
lot issues? So what's the kerfuffle exactly? Because is it that I know it was a point of controversy that now to park on the street, you're going to have to pay in a way that...
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. That was a big bone of contention, big debate. And in several areas and streets now in the town, you now have to pay. I assume it's one of those deals where it's an app.
Yeah.
And and I don't know how many people actually would do it. I don't know how closely it's going to be enforced. My guess it's going to be enforced pretty heavily.
Yeah.
They're claiming the city, is it Falcon Heights?
Yes.
Claims that they're going to be able to make like $250,000, $250,000.
I believe that.
And that goes to defraying expenses, state fair related. Maybe we could use that money for an awning. I'm not sure they're going to get it.
We got to talk to the right people. Got to talk to the fair board.
Be very nice if it could work out.
I'm guessing the kerfuffle is just how that they fill up.
Yeah, they do. It's because people want to go.
I wish they could figure out a more real-time way to actually let people in and out of the lots. Like, I wonder what the number is. And I know the problem they have is they're so landlocked with Snelling, Larpenteur, and Como that you can't have people just sitting there waiting to get into the lots. Like, you do have to keep it moving a little bit. I understand that. But it does bother me when when I can see open spots from Como, and then you'll see the sign that says full. That chaps me.
It looks like Seifert is offering an update to his update regarding the injury-riddled practice today. Via a source, he writes, both Addison and Felton are fine. No issues going forward from today's practice. The question on Felton has been, has he looked good enough, right? I mean, whether, because it on paper, it certainly appears to be a pretty good opportunity. But the question is, if the Vikings have aspirations as serious as we think they do, even with the kid quarterback, do you want to project? Do you want to count on him fast, even if you like him down the road? And that's where I think it does make sense if you can get a solid, dependable receiver. Somebody brought up earlier in the show the name KJ Osborne. Who's he with now? I don't even know.
Did New England not keep him? Isn't that where he ended up?
I can't recall what his deal is. I think he's with somebody now. I have no idea how.
He's with Washington now.
Washington? Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know what that would take. I'm not sure. I read the same.
Are we just going to name former Vikings receivers?
Well, we might, because
go down the list.
We can't think of any others.
Matthew Hatchett, Jay Green.
When I brought up, who's the bigger name guy?
Amari Cooper.
But a couple people claim that he's old and can't
he's injured.
Pass block.
Yeah.
And what does he really have left for you? And that's probably, you're probably better off just getting somebody who's played the position a little bit, who can give you a little something for at least for those 3 games. I don't know. I know a lot of people want to say, well, we're overstating it because we're going to just use more tight end action then. Yeah, sometimes that works. Sometimes it's not quite that simple, depending on what you're facing defensively. I read the same Wall Street Journal piece on Rahm. Agree with you. He's one of the few Dems I'd consider voting for if he got the nomination. I think he'd likely win and be a good president. Trick for him is getting the nomination, since Dems will likely step on a rake again with the nomination. It's sort of what Republicans do in the governor's race in this state. They constantly step on the rake, and it's a good analogy. It has not served them very well. Somebody though threw her hat into the ring today on the Republican side for governor. Did you see that? Let's see if I can find that.
Yes, I don't know her name off the top of my head, but I did see that.
Yeah, well, you know me with names, so I'm going to try to find it before I say something stupid and mangle the name, because I'm very capable of doing exactly that. Let's go to news and politics. No, I don't want that ad start to be on. Give me a break. Leave me alone. You'd think it would be Here it is. Yeah, Representative Kristen Robbins has announced a run for governor, described as a rising voice in the Minnesota legislature, and she's out of Maple Grove. And in her opening kind of salvo today, she made it all about, academic fraud in the state of Minnesota. And as anybody who's running absolutely should, I would say. Now, does she have an advantage? Because she's the chair of the House Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Committee. The question is, has she been very effective in that role? That committee has not received very high marks, I would say, for what it has done. But I don't think there's any question that the road she's going down is the road that any Republican is going to have to try to go down. The question is, I don't know how, where she is. Is she, in terms of with the president, is she MAGA? Which is not illegal, I'm saying, but also if you're trying to, it's Minnesota. So how hard are you going to go on that? That's what I said. The Republicans have stepped on the rake so many times when it's come to challenging a Walsey, who, by the way, said again, didn't he just say, well,
He's thinking about it.
I'm still thinking about it, but I'm going to now, I think after
Labor Day.
Correct? Or after Labor Day? Is that what he said? Uh-oh. Receiver for the Vikings?
No, but this is a bit of a stunner, I think. Remember how Alec Lewis mentioned at practice today he did not see Harrison Phillips?
Yes.
He and Diana Rossini are reporting that the Vikings are trading Harrison Phillips to the Jets.
Are you serious?
I triple-checked it because I thought I was getting, catfished or whatever you call it. But Harrison Phillips, who I think was our last training camp conversation. I think
we're bad luck, aren't we?
Maybe second to last.
Yeah.
Because I think we had Metellus last. But Harrison Phillips, who just signed a contract, a year ago? An extension, I thought?
Yeah, I think you're right,
actually. Has been traded to the Jets, but as Alex Lewis writes, they're just overloaded with defensive tackle depth.
So this dovetails with, who was I asking? Was it Seifert or somebody else about the glowing Mark Craig piece on Ingram Dawkins? He's a rookie, 5th-round pick who was given starting time in practice last week. And that's when my antenna went up ahead of Phillips. So maybe this all sort of fits better together, that they are so excited with the depth and who they have. They feel like they can, I assume, save a little bit of money here too, that they have moved on from Harrison Phillips. That's huge.
They're trading, Shefty's got a little bit more. Okay. They're trading Harrison Phillips and a 2027 7th-rounder to the Jets in exchange for a 2026 6th-round pick and 2027 6th-round pick.
That's it?
Yeah. Apparently they want to keep some of those other guys.
That's it. I mean, because you got, Phillips, who's now gone. You got Jonathan Allen, right? You've got Hargrave. You got Jalen Redmond,
Levi Drake.
And you got Levi Drake and now Ingram Dawkins. And that's the one that as I said, Mark had written about. So, I mean, that's a compliment to him, I think, and to some of that depth, too, if they said, look, I mean, it's tricky. It seems radical, but it's actually what the best teams do. Now, they got to be right and not pulling the trigger too soon.
Right.
But part of what you do is you replenish, and you don't. And this is a real problem with the previous regime, obviously. You can't fall in love with name players. It sounds cruel, but sometimes you got to keep the thing moving. I'm guessing, well, maybe not. I was going to say, is Phillips gobsmacked? But maybe not. Maybe behind the scenes, word starts circulating because he's not playing as much. And wait a minute, they're playing these kids here. Is something up? Who's to say? But that is a pretty interesting revelation right there. Huh.
Fascinating. I didn't see it coming.
No, I did not either. But
you know what? Quasi's always cooking.
We have apparently an embarrassment of riches in the interior part of our defensive line. Right,
we've drafted too well in that part. Apparently,
I mean, well, here's the quote. I mean, this is kind of creepy thinking about it. Harrison Phillips in early June predicted this year's defensive line would be so deep that they'd have waves we can throw at opponents. He's the guy who said it, and now he's the guy who's the odd man out.
His wave went crashing to New York.
Well, he ended up being right, but the waves were so big that they said, we don't need this guy to be part of our wave any longer. How many years do we have Harrison Phillips?
I want to say 3. I'll double
years?
check. I remember talking to him at the People's Stadium.
Always a good interview.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
He was great.
What was the People's Stadium circumstance?
They did a practice there.
Oh, that's right.
The day that they announced Jared Allen was going into the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And he joined us from the field. We did it from the booth. We had a wireless setup. They had done a practice there. I think it must have been Kevin O'Connell's first year there. I have to imagine it would have been. So this would have been his 4th year with us then, if that's the sequencing. But I'll double check.
So this would be, 3 years.
I think that was KOC's first year, and he wanted to get into the stadium and work the operation.
So I was hoping you were going to announce we got a receiver from the Jets.
I know.
I don't even know who they have that would be workable at this point. But, so we don't get a body. We get 2 picks.
Right. We get to keep an extra body from that defensive line group, basically.
What was Harrison? Yeah, that's true. What was Harrison Phillips making? Let's take a look at his.
He got here in 2022, so this would have been his 4th year.
This would be year 4. Phillips signed a 2-year, $15 million contract with the Vikings, including a $5 million signing bonus, $13 million guaranteed, and an average annual salary of $7.5. In 2025, base salary $7 million and a workout bonus of $100,000, while carrying a cap hit of $9,676,000 and a dead cap value of $10,352. So does that mean we still have cap? We got to pay some of that cap hit since we're trading him?
I don't know.
How's that work?
I'm not sure.
In 2026, his base salary was slated to be $6.8 million, with another $1.7 million as a signing bonus, and then another $500,000 for a roster GM bonus. So maybe we just said we got too many other options. We'll save the money where we can, right?
I think that's it.
How old is Harrison Phillips? He's 29. He's not that old. He'll turn 30 in January. That ain't that ancient, is it? 3rd round pick, 2018, 96th overall, Stanford guy. I remember talking to him about that, right? Yeah, because he's from the Midwest. Isn't he from Nebraska?
Yes, you talked to him about his Omaha stuff that he's been doing. Yeah. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Lance and Chaska wants to know if Kwesi's going full pull ad, pulling a salary dump. On a scale of 1 to 10 with that return of picks, it's at least a 9. Well, you aren't getting much back. So that does to me sound like you
like what you have.
You like what you have, and you're trying to get rid of a little bit of money, and maybe you then open up some money for
Adam Thielen,
a wide receiver. That
could be part of it.
Yes, it could well be setting the wheels in motion. Some flexibility for the club if there's a wide receiver that interests them as well. So stay tuned. Is anybody else speculating on that part of it? We haven't heard any. Have we heard any actual wide receiver names beyond the .com Tom report yesterday that we're looking at for a veteran wide receiver?
I haven't seen any names reported.
We know about Thielen.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, no one's really reporting any names. It's just that they're actively looking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you save $10 million. That's some money to get something at the wide receiver position, right?
I think Thielen's 6.5, I think. Just as an example.
Plot thickens. There you go. Well, we'll keep an eye on that, and it could be a story moving forward in the next few days. I mean, the Vikings have a good situation from a scheduling standpoint, right? Their last preseason game is Friday night.
It is.
And then they don't play till Monday night. So you got plenty of time for Bear Week. Plenty of time to prepare for the monsters of the Midway. And a great opportunity, by the way, for the Vikings defense. It's a great opportunity for the Vikings defense to just humble everybody in Chicago, starting to get aroused by how Caleb Williams looked and the offense looked under Ben Johnson in week 2, where you just go,
yep,
that was cute.
Right.
That was really cute. But we're going to knock you on your ass, and you're not even going to know what hit you with what B-Flow and company have coming.
I don't know if you know this or not. And by the way, Ben Goessling is going to join for an emergency 5 minutes next segment.
That's perfect.
Who's a good weather person in Chicago?
Oh, my. Just current ones, I have no idea.
Just give me a legendary Chicago.
Harry Volkman.
So Harry Volkman, they're going to kick it over to Harry Volkman, and he's going to say, and tomorrow, Monday Night Football, a little bit of a weird one here, a Flonami warning coming through on the lakeshore. Back to you, Ron Majors.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be outstanding.
Flonami warning.
Flonami warning.
That should be our State Fair T-shirt.
It's not a bad... That would have probably... That's not too late. A lot of times we add late ones.
We do.
There's already bitterness about the corn sweat one. I'll see if I can find that text during the break. Top of the hour break, and you say a quick 5 minutes with our good friend Ben Goessling with instant reaction to the Harrison Phillips story and where it might be headed regarding the Vikings picking up another.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
I'd receive. Pretty much being confirmed by everybody now. I think the story belonged at the start to Adam Schefter. Vikings trading very popular stand-up guy, Harrison Phillips, defensive tackle, and a 2027 seventh-round pick to the Jets for a 2026 sixth-rounder and a 2027 sixth-round pick pending Phillips' physical. And according to another media report, the Vikings have agreed to pay half of Phillips' $7.4 million salary this season. So what do we make of all this? Well, we'll find out. Ben Goessling giving us some bonus time via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline right now. What do we make of, how do we translate, read the tea leaves on what the Vikings are up to?
Well, I think there's a couple of things here. I mean, they are going to have some other things that they'll probably want to attend to. Certainly they're going to need help with the receiver position. I don't know that they would have been squeezed financially to do it there, but they do have a fair number of bigger contract figures for 2026. So I think they'll clear. They will, in fact, I've confirmed they will, in fact, pick up half of Phillips' salary this year. So they'll clear like $3.7 million in space this year. But then next year, I think they get $7.5 million back. So some of it's that. I think they have been very happy with Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. And then you also have, you know, guys like Jalen Redmond, who was in with Allen and Hargrave for most of the scrimmage today with Phillips not practicing for now what are fairly obvious reasons. You have guys like Levi Drake Rodriguez, Tyrion Ingram, Dawkins, Taki Taimani, Elijah Williams. So they have, I think, enough depth there that they're trying to save some money for other things when they can. And yeah, it's a little bit of a surprise given the fact that he was, I think, maybe the first free agent they signed under Kevin O'Connell, has been a fixture for a long time. But I think as they have changed that position to guys with a little more pass rush and then have liked some of the younger guys they have, they looked at it and said, we can marshal our resources in other places.
So, and this, I assume, even with the fact that they're paying a decent chunk of his contract for this year, it does give them, one would assume, a little more money to play with if they do stumble upon a veteran wide receiver?
That's correct. Yes. So his salary for this year is $7 million, and then there's some bonuses in there, so it comes out to 7.4. And if they give half of that, if they cover half of that, that means they'll obviously save the other half. So 3.7 would be roughly the savings this year, and then he was under contract for next year, so you get the money back for next year as well, which is more when it's an issue. I mean, they need the money probably more in 2026 than they do in 2025.
Right.
The Jefferson number starts to go up and those sorts of things. But yes, it will give them some money to play with this year, and even more of that next year.
So, I mean, are there any, beyond Adam Thielen, are there any other names you've heard? And how intensive do you think this search is? I mean, will you now be surprised if this team does not try to add some semblance of a veteran wide receiver in time for the start of the season?
Well, I think it's going to depend on what they can find and what the price of it is. I mean, the Thielen one has been talked about a lot, and Thielen would be expensive. He's also a starter for them. They could afford to do that, but you'd have to have somebody that the other team wants to get rid of. I mean, some of the guys, like, I mean, we were talking about this in our podcast this morning. Kendrick Bourne from the Patriots is a name that's further down on the depth chart that was just here for joint practices last week. I don't have any steam to say that that's somebody they're looking at, but that would be the type of guy that I would expect would, be somebody they'd look at as a veteran that has played, that can step in and fill a role at least for a few weeks. And then you can move back to what you normally have when Jordan Addison is back. So I think it's not something that I look at as like you have to mortgage everything you have to get one, because it's a bigger issue for the first 3 weeks of the season than it should be for the last 14 games of the season once you get Jordan Addison back. But yeah, I mean, you look at it now with the depth the way it is, I would think they're going to do something. I would expect there's probably a lot of discussions. I think there have been a lot of discussions about receiver depth and the need for more of it. So yes, I would keep my eyes open for something in the next few days here between now and probably when roster cuts happen on Tuesday.
The listeners are very motivated on this subject, as you know. And so one of them says, reports are Tyreek Hill is not happy in Miami.
That would probably be a little more of a robust acquisition than I would expect this to be.
I
but
think you're probably
if
right.
they could pull that off, then great. But I don't know that the finances of that work quite the way they'd want. And sharing the ball with the other highly paid all-pro receiver they have would be the other question I'd have, if that would be something Tyreek Hill would be up for. But, if they could make it work, I'm sure there would be interest in making that happen.
Another texter, Bemidji guy, Harrison Phillips getting traded to the Jets. What did he do to deserve that? In all seriousness, I mean, do you think this came as a shock to Phillips, or do you think actually behind the scenes players pick up, whether they like it or not, or whether they feel it's even fair to them, they pick up the vibe that the Vikings keep talking about all this depth they have now in the interior line. And there were a couple of, I think Mark Craig had the story last week that there was significant stretches in practice where Phillips wasn't even with the first team, instead playing one of the kids. So do you think he's gobsmacked by this whole thing, or do you think there's a good chance that he may well have known, a few days ago that something might be up here, reading the handwriting on the wall?
Yeah, I think he's a smart guy that has been around the game long enough. And I think is fairly well acquainted with the business side of it. He's been involved in the union for quite a while, too. So my guess would be that he's probably seen some of this. I mean, when you have depth, when you have young players, it's always a means of cost control. I mean, there is always that, line you're walking as a veteran, as a highly paid veteran, where you're saying, okay, we want people that can help give me a break, can help, keep my body a little fresher throughout the season. But if those players are taking time and showing that they can do the job, the team may say, you know what, we can get by and save ourselves some money in the process. So it is always a kind of a dual nature of things. And I would imagine that he has been around long enough, and just knowing him, he's a guy that's pretty smart and is pretty well acquainted with the dynamics of the NFL. So my guess is he probably wasn't completely stunned by it. It's probably in one sense, it's a guy that has been a fixture in the locker room. So I'm sure there's a bittersweet reaction to the whole thing. But, I think at this point he's probably seen enough and been around long enough to have a pretty good sense of how these things go.
One of your compadres, Seifert Phillips, who signed a contract extension last year, has been an A-plus person in this community, will be missed. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he was as involved as anybody they have in community work.
Yep.
I mean, a guy that basically would, as soon as he got here, said, hey, where do you need me? Where can I get involved? And has been a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee in the past. And I would imagine will continue to do the same things in New York. But yes, there is a level of intention with the way he's been involved in the community that is pretty unique. I mean, you see a lot of guys involved, but the number of things he would show up to, from his own functions to team functions, he was a pretty constant fixture in a lot of those Tuesday events that players have. And I think that is one of the reasons that he garners respect in the locker room and garners respect in the community. I don't think that'll change, but yeah, certainly was noticeable when he was here.
I appreciate the bonus time, and we'll are you coming out to us for the fair? I can't even remember. I assume you are. You usually do.
I am. Yes, I am there next Friday.
Excellent.
So I will see you guys out there, and I will be just a phone call away for anything else. But yes, I will be out there at the grandstand area with you guys next week.
Outstanding. Thanks for the time.
My pleasure. Thanks, Dan.
That is Ben Goessling, brought to you by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, fine sponsor of the Ben Goessling segments again throughout the 2025 National Football League season. We'll come back, wrap up the show, give you a couple of final thoughts on at the very least, I think, surprising deal. Might make some sense in terms of depth, but nevertheless, a big name who's got, I think, pretty good pedigree and has had a really good reputation and credibility since he's been here. Harrison Phillips dealt to the New York Jets. Is it just the beginning of maybe setting up a couple of moves so that the Vikings can indeed add a wide receiver? More on that next.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Ooh, Trust and Will.
Final segment of the show and our Greg Coleman auction for the YMCA at $4,000. What's it include? 2 tickets and a touchdown suite for the Vikings-Ravens game on Sunday, November 9th. Full luxury of hosted food and beverages just feet behind the east end zone. Premium leather theater-style chairs. You also get to go into the Delta Sky 360 Club and its all-inclusive hospitality. This package also includes hotel, game day breakfast with Greg, a Greg Coleman jersey, Vikings legend signed football, 2 signed copies of Greg's book, Punt, Flip the Field. $4,000 the current bid. Got about 6 minutes if you want to jump in on that and go over the top. 651-989-5326. Show wrap brought to you by American Pressure. Commercial grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
Here's the news on the March Nugget. And this comes from a writer, reporter, senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute, which is a right. It's on the right-hand side of the political aisle, not the left side, the right-hand side. Did you see this one?
I did not.
It turns out that, no surprise, the White House had been illegally hiding a key federal spending database in order to obscure that it was beginning to illegally impound spending, as it had previously signaled it would indeed do. Impoundment, Jessica Reidel writes, is a huge deal because if it were legal, it would destroy the balance of powers by decimating Congress's role in the federal budget. President could choose which parts of the already enacted $7 trillion federal budget to spend and which parts to ignore. This could include unilaterally eliminating enacted spending for a state or a congressional district, or the next Democratic president refusing to implement defense or border programs that had already been passed and signed into law. She writes, look, I like spending cuts as much as the next guy, but impoundment is very dangerous presidential power that undermines democracy and would bring chaos, which is why it is surely unconstitutional and also banned by something called the 1974 Budget and Impoundment Act. But will it get the attention it deserves? On the right-hand side of the aisle, probably, unfortunately, not. The next time we talk to you, we will be at the Great Minnesota Get-Together. It starts tomorrow, and that means we'll be there beginning at 3. On our opening day is quite eventful. Historically and traditionally starts with either Monty Creason or Two Dogs, his nephew, and guess what? It's going to be Two Dogs with his reptiles and whatever else he wants to bring to our location. We always look forward to that on day one of the Great Minnesota Get-Together. But we also have a newspaper institution who will be joining us on site as well. John Bream will be there to celebrate 50 years of action at the Star Tribune, writing for the Star Tribune, music critic. And so we'll wax nostalgic, go down memory lane with him. And tomorrow is also the anniversary of the Beatles' appearance in concert at Met Stadium, correct?
That's exactly right. 60 years. 60
years ago tomorrow. Thanks to Dan Winnesota, by the way, he's given me great background again that we might run by Bream tomorrow, who's got his own series of stories on that issue. So we're looking forward to that visit. And lastly, but certainly not last.
This is Pat Kessler reporting.
Pat Kessler. Or certainly not least. Yeah, it's Pat Kessler.
This is Pat Kessler.
The return of Pat Kessler. What will he bring? What will the innuendo be about? When he's at the fair, usually there's something.
I know what it'll be about. I mean, the innuendo.
You think so?
Sicky.
Yeah, well, but what sort of innuendo
How is he
exactly? How is he going to present it? Is it going to be a vegetable? Or is it going to be something else?
Calendar.
Could be a calendar. Could be other things. So we hope you come to see us tomorrow or every other day, because I'll be there literally every day but the 2 Saturdays. Gaardsy will be there every day but the second Thursday, correct?
Yes, and the weekends.
And the weekends you're not there.
I think I'm there 6 times.
What's that?
I think I'm there 6 times total.
6?
Yeah.
How's that possible?
2 this week and 4 next week.
Oh, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense.
I can do that math.
Yeah. The fair is not as long as fair needs to be longer. I think we need to go to the Texas State Fair approach.
Yeah, why not?
But then it would lose some of its allure, I think. A lot of people think it's the exact right amount of days.
It's just right.
Just enough where by the end of it, you miss it again. And if you extend it the way Texas State Fair is, people go, oh my God, come on, let's end this thing. Enough.
We're happy for the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. What else did I have? Oh, and Vikings at wide receiver. Stay tuned with the Harrison Phillips trade to the Jets for a couple draft picks. They do get some financial relief, although the Vikings will pay for half the deal. So I don't think we're up against the cap anyway to that extent. So my guess is it gives them a little more flexibility to make a move, but it also sounds like they're saying he wasn't going to play as much as he'd played in the past. Veteran player. Bigger contract, not a huge contract, but a bigger contract. Let's play the kids. And that's really what the best teams do. Now, they got to be right about the kids, right? In a year where, we think we got the pieces in place. But Phillips was always a great guy for us to talk to. And as Seifert said, one of those pillar of the community guys immediately epoxied himself with what can I do, right? Yeah. He's one of those guys. I want to get involved in charity, in ways to help and connect. And it's in that sense, it's a cruel business. Look, he's making good money. He's going to be fine. Just had a kid, though, right?
He did in May,
So these are the sorts of things that can change things pretty dramatically and pretty quickly if you're a National Football League player. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, podcast the show if you missed it. A great hour and change with the one and only Alan Page, who joined us beginning at about 3:30 until about 4:40. I think you'll enjoy it. And even if you heard it the first time, maybe play it back. It's, I think, that good. We'll talk to you tomorrow from the Fair at 3.